Hey guys, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Ankush here from Alif Consulting. Welcome in our Azure Weekly Updates video. In this video, we will be going to talk about all the updates which has been released by Microsoft for Azure Cloud in last week. All of these updates are generally available and can be used with our productions workload, right? So let's quickly jump into these updates and understand more about it. So the first update which we have is for SAP solution. We have a dedicated Azure Center for SAP solution, which is now generally available in Azure. Azure Center for SAP solutions bring together a integration or integrated set of capability for deploying and managing the SAP landscapes by making Azure SAP aware. With Azure Center for SAP solutions, one of the key capability is a logical representation of the SAP system and what we call a virtual instance for SAP solution. Now we can see and interact with SAP system as an entire entity instead of individual component. So now how it's gonna be, right? There's gonna be one specific Azure Center, like the way you have a backup, the way you have for backup, right? Backup do have a backup center, and where you selected what kind of backup or where you want to do the backup, right? Same way, there is a dedicated center for SAP where you can register your all the workload, and in a one single control plane, we would be able to see all the resources which is used by the SAP solution, right? So this can allow us to take the advantage of the management capability for both our new and existing Azure based SAP system, and we can register our existing system to this system to create a virtual instance for SAP solution resources into the Azure Center. The next update which we have is for Azure Firewall. Now we have a Azure policy analysis for Azure Firewall. This is a very good welcome feature, I would say, because this can help you to do the analysis on your existing firewall rules, network rules, or application rule which is running in. So let's take an example. You are running tons of rules, right? So to do those changes or to analyze those rules, you always need to go inside the rule 121 and you need to see what kind of configuration is there, right? So those kind of things always change. Those kind of changes or those kind of things always take a lot of time. So that's where policy analytic for Azure Firewall can help you out to give the better view over all the rules which has been configured there, right? And this is already integrated with the Azure Firewall Manager. We can take the help of Azure Firewall Manager to do the analytics on the policy, which is there in running into the Azure Firewall. The next update which we have is for SAP again. We have a dedicated Azure Monitor for SAP solution. Is a turnkey Azure native end-to-end technical monitoring product for customer running the SAP application on the Azure. With Azure monitoring for SAP solutions, customer can collect end-to-end telemetry data from SAP net waivers, databases, high availability Linux based maker cluster, and the Linux operating system in a central location within the Azure portal to visually corrected the data from the speedily shooting. Azure Monitor for SAP solution can be configured within a few minutes with no infrastructure to deploy and maintain for the customers. The next update which we have is for Azure Payment HSM Service. Now can support 2 host IP network interface. So Azure Payment HMS has introduced a support for second host IP interface for PayShield 10K. This means the customer can now have a maximum of 128 concurrent connection using the 2 network host interface. It's important to note that there is no charges to the Payment HSM resource creation process, as the 2 host network interface are created by default when the Payment HSM is set up. Additionally, customer can only create those network interface within the same VNet, but they don't have options to use either static or dynamic IP allocation for the host interface. The next update which we have is the seamlessly upgradation of the Application Gateway V2 WAF configure to the policy. So as we know, Azure Original Web Application Firewall on the Application Gateway now support a fully automated experience when upgrading the web configuration from a configuration to a policy. Web policy offer us a multiple benefits over the web configuration, including the rich feature set, like having the newer managed rule set, custom rules and rule exclusions, bot protection and more. Higher scale and performance with our next generation web engine, simplify the management experience, latest features. We can we can keep up to date with the latest feature and the enhancement with the policy. So this is the new benefits we will be going to get, and it's completely a seamless upgrade to the Azure configuration, from WAF configuration to the Azure policy. The next update which we have is for Azure Backup. Azure Backup Report now include the support for more workloads. So now we can include Azure Database for Postgres servers, Azure Blobs, Azure Disks. With this upgrade, we can enable the logs for backup related metadata such as jobs, backup items, policy, and users for those workload, and retain those record for the customizable duration of the time depends on the compliance and the audit requirement. We can then leverage the canned report view that are already provided by a backup report solution today, and view the information for the protected item corresponding to these workloads. Since the backup functionality for these new workloads are surfaced by a backup vault, we will now need to configure reporting on the backup vault, right? So this is the something which is there. Now we have a capability of adding a new workload in report. At the same time, we would be able to get more reports such as the jobs, backup items, policy, and users from the Azure Backup. The next update which we have is for Firewall NVAS. Now we have a routing intent and the virtual WAN integrations with network virtual appliance firewall. So routing intent allow us to set up multiple and declarative routing policies to configure the virtual WAN to route traffic to bump in a wired security solution such as Azure Firewall, integrated firewall NVAs, and the SaaS deployed into the virtual WAN hub. This feature deliver two critical use cases: inter-region or inter-hub traffic inspection and branch-to-branch, on-premise to on-premise traffic inspection. Routing intent capability also extend to the next generation firewall integration within the virtual WAN hub. Checkpoints, CloudGuard network security, and Fortinet network appliances. The two integrated firewall NVAs in virtual hubs are now generally available. Well, that's it in this video. I hope you like this video. If you like, please click on like and subscribe for more upcoming videos, and feel free to reach us if you have any questions. Thank you.